The nation longed for deliverance, a leader to free them from tyranny. They knew the story well. God would send a mighty warrior, but they never expected a defenseless child. It was said the government would be upon his shoulders, but so would a criminal's cross. He would take the throne of his father David, but first he must pass through the veil of death. Each Christmas, we remember the unconventional arrival of this king, and we too know the story pretty well. We see the wise men on our Christmas cards tracing their westward journey. But these are Gentiles. They've come to worship a king for all people. Each year we sing of shepherds watching flocks by night, but these aren't exactly royalty. They remind us that this king lifts up the lowly. At Christmas, we celebrate a child's birth, but this infant is also the eternal king who spoke creation into existence, and he still speaks.
Hi everybody, we made it Christmas Day. First off, let me wish you a very happy Christmas. And secondly, let's read the Bible together. Psalm 72 is where I'm at today. Psalm 72. Give the king your justice, O God, and your righteousness to the royal son. May he judge your people with righteousness and your poor with justice. Let the mountains bear prosperity for the people and the hills in righteousness. May he defend the cause of the poor of the people, give deliverance to the children of the needy, and crush the oppressor. May they fear you while the sun endures, and as long as the moon, throughout all generations. May he be like rain that falls on the mown grass, like showers that water the earth. In his days may the righteous flourish, and peace abound till the moon be no more. May he have dominion from sea to sea, and from river to the ends of the earth. May desert tribes bow down before him, and his enemies lick the dust. May the kings of Tarshish and of the coastlands render him tribute. May the kings of Sheba and Seba bring gifts. May all kings fall down before him, all nations serve him. For he delivers the needy when he calls, the poor and him who has no helper. He has pity on the weak and the needy, and saves the lives of the needy. From oppression and violence he redeems their life, and precious is their blood in his sight. Long may he live. May gold of Sheba be given to him. May prayer be made for him continually, and blessing invoked for him all the day. May there be an abundance of grain in the land. On top of the mountains may it wave. May its fruit be like Lebanon, and may people blossom in the cities like the grass of the field. May his name endure forever. His fame continue as long as the sun. May people be blessed in him. All nations call him blessed. Well, it's right and good to focus on Jesus this morning. But I've read Psalm 72 because we're not here just to think of Jesus as a baby this morning. The incarnation is wonderful. The fact that God became a person, and even a baby person, is amazing. But Psalm 72 there reminds us today that we remember and celebrate the coming of the King. The King has come. It's a King who's been born. And we see that in the Christmas story, don't we? When the angels give the good news to the shepherds, they hurry to Bethlehem. Why? Because they like babies? No, because they want to see the King. When the wise men see the star, they know a baby has been born, so they set off on their journey. Why? For a selfie? No, because they want to worship the King. So is this psalm we've read this morning talking about King Jesus? Well, I see a few hints in the story to that Christmas story as we read it, particularly the kings there. kings from Sheba and Seba bringing their gifts, others paying tribute. The gift of gold, particularly we see there in verse 15, all hints. But where we can see it more is in the way that the psalmist believes that this king will be the fulfillment of God's promise. Yes, whoever's writing it, David or Solomon, wants these things for their immediate sons, those who will be king next. But they also talk of this king enduring forever. And they know that that isn't going to be their immediate sons, but rather they're looking to God's promise that from David's line would come a king who would reign forever. In the psalm, we also see the promise then made to Abraham, that from Abraham's family one would come, from whom all nations, all families of the earth would be blessed. And in it we hear echoes of other prophecies that we've been thinking about lately, particularly that in Isaiah. Verse 7 reminded us, the increase of his government and of his peace there will be no end, on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and uphold it with justice and righteousness from this time forth and forevermore. So this psalm tells us of a king. And now we know that this king is King Jesus. So it tells us he's come. What else does this psalm tell us about the king? Well, it tells us what type of king he is. It shows us a powerful king. A powerful king who will rule over all. But at the same time, it shows us that he is just and right and loving. The psalm shows us what this king does. We are told that he saves and he redeems. And we thought of that already this season, the reason why Jesus came. The angel said you're to call his name Jesus because he will save his people from their sins. Jesus came to save and redeem, to bring us back to God. The Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. And as we've seen this king in a manger, we also remember that king on a cross, dying to save his people, to save and redeem. The psalm also tells us who this king is for. And what's the answer? Well, it's for everyone. In a year where there has been much thought about poverty and hunger, and people have been looking at each other to say, you fix it. Well, here we are told that this king loves and delivers the needy. He is there for the poor and for those who don't have a helper. He saves the weak. Also, in a year where racial inequality has been shown again, it's great to see that this king is for everyone. All nations in him will be blessed. Regardless of where you were born or the colour of your skin, he is a king for all peoples. But the psalm tells us of an amazing king, a wonderful king. But the wonderful fact this Christmas is we can know this king, God's gift to us, this king. Boys and girls, grown-ups too, but boys and girls particularly, I hope you get some lovely gifts this Christmas. I've had many gifts over the years, and they've all lasted for different durations. I remember vividly when I was, I think about age 6, and I'd visited a Santa's grotto and received a gift. The problem, I could tell it was a book, but the problem was that they had wrapped it so tight that as I tore the paper on the wrapping, I also tore the book. That gift lasted me, well, about 8 seconds. I remember other presents. I've told you before about my Power Ranger toy that I really wanted and got one Christmas, and how I placed it beside my bed that night, but his shoulder pad had touched the bulb of my light and started to burn. Well, I think that gift lasted about 8 hours. Other gifts, I remember when I was slightly older, I got Crash Bandicoot Racing on the original PlayStation. I loved that game. I played it so much that I completed it by the time it was time to go back to school. I think that gift lasted about 8 days. I remember fondly a teddy bear I received. Well, it was Zippy from Rainbow, if you can remember that. And that teddy lay by my side each night for about 8 years. You see, all great presents lasted different times, but they're all gone now. How long does God's gift last? How long will this king reign for? 8 years? 80 years? 800? 8,000 years? Well, no. This king reigns for infinity and beyond. His kingdom will know no end. You see, and as his people, we can know that. And we can know that king who will reign forever. That's what we celebrate today. A king born to save and redeem. A king for all people, including you and me. A king that we can know now and forever, because what he achieved for us on the cross. That's what we celebrate this Christmas. And every Christmas, and every day really. That's what we celebrate. Oh, come, all ye faithful, come and behold the King. Amen.